Well, hi guys, just a quick sort of Photoshop demonstration really. It's nothing to do with the actual image at all, it's just an example. So you've got a light there that has the it's all the lights inside, and then there's a coffee cup. So even at f3.5, and if you focus on the label on the bottle, the label on the cup, the coffee cup, is actually soft and slightly out of focus. So there's two ways of combating this. One, you stop your lens down and sort of like probably f13, f16, something like that, to get everything 100% in focus. But that means your shutter speeds will be heavily reduced. And also actually your depth of field will be increased generally through the whole image. So for example, if you were doing a portrait shoot and you had two people slightly at different depths, I'm talking like a few feet, not just slightly behind each other. There's two ways of doing that. You stop the lens down, but then your portrait shot suddenly becomes almost like a landscape image where everything is in focus. So there's a couple of little ways you could do this. One, we take two images and then we'll merge them. And obviously the other way is stopping down your lens to get more in focus. Well, on this one here we're actually going to do two shots. One that's in focus still focused onto the label of the bottle, and the other one is focused onto the coffee cup, on the label of the coffee cup. I've just done this very quickly. I've used my mobile phone as the light source for the actual the cup. The bottle is lit anyway, just out of interest, and we'll just do a quick edit and show you how it's done. It's very simple. It's quite effective on a lot of things. It's not necessarily just for portraiture or products or anything like that. You could use it on anything. It's just a case of merging or stacking multiple images. So if you do a lot of macro photography with actually a rig on it, we'll move the camera backwards and forwards. You can then take multiple shots and then stack the images together, and it will actually sort everything out for you via Photoshop. So if you're using I used to have a 5:1 macro magnification on the macro lens, you'll be so close that actually to get 1mm in focus you'd need about, I think it was 5 or 6 shots, and then you'd actually stick them together so they'd merge together and become one. And obviously if you wanted 5mm, you're talking sort of 30 shots or something like that. So just to get that bit in focus. So this is a very simple way of doing something. I'm just going to show you on Photoshop now how easily it is to do. And it's a case of, ideally, if you get it on a tripod, the images will be exactly the same and they'll just overlap very easily. If not, I've done it handheld before. You just have to line it up later in Photoshop anyway, and you will have a bit of overlap you can just crop out. That's not really an issue. But this is just a quick way of doing this, and you can see how it's done. It's very, very simple and very, very quick to do.
So guys, we've got two shots here. One with the bottle that's in focus, and the other one with the coffee cup which is in focus. So that bit in focus, that bit in focus. So you can see nice and sharp, slightly blurry compared to nice and sharp, pretty blurry. So ignore the right hand side there, that was just a mobile phone that was lighting the cup. It's just a quick demonstration. So what we're going to do is go File, Script, Load Files into Stack, and you go Open Files, and it says there, and you say Attempt to automatically align the source images. So you go Yes. So now that has actually put us two images on top of each other. So in theory, if we look through there, you can see sharp, not sharp. So if this was a landscape shot, you could actually do this as, say, up to 10-20 shots if you wanted to. So if you're doing a landscape and you took a focus point all the way through the whole image, say if there was something 2 feet away from you or 3 feet away from you, a rock or an interesting piece of garden or something, I don't know, a plant or something like that, to get that in focus, and the windmill, for example, on the hill about half a mile away, to get the depth you'd have to be shooting at f16 plus very slow shutter speeds, or turn the ISO up. So different ways of doing it is you can actually pre-focus on the plant and then refocus slightly into the image, and then further and further and further. Eventually you get to the windmill and you focus on that, and then you do this. You then stack it using that bit. So you went in the file, scripts, and then load into a stack, and then you align them. So what we can do here is if we highlight, so we go shift and highlight the 2 images, we can then go edit, and then we go blend, and that will should give us sharp image here and sharp image here. I know what it's doing. It's filling. I don't know what it's filling, but it's doing something. There you go. So as you can see, it's screwed up around here quite badly because it didn't really know what it was doing, but it's given us an image there and an image there that's very sharp. If this was a full image of something that actually had some detail in it, it would know what it's doing. So that's Photoshop for you. But if we go back a couple of hits, he says, or just get rid of that, it's probably a lot easier. Let's get rid of that completely. Right, so what we're going to do then is we're going to go back to doing that. So we're going to go scripts again, we're going to go load files into a stack, and then align them. That's as far as we're going to go with that. After this, it's basically fully manual what we're going to do. Right, so we're in. So what we've got here is the top image is the coffee cup which is in focus, and the bottom image is the bottle that's in focus. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy the bottom one and just drag it in above. Is that right? Yeah. Basically drag it above the sharp coffee cup, because what we're going to do, simple as, is go eraser tool, we're going to zoom in on the cup, and literally we're just going to rub through until the cup looks a lot sharper. We can just rub through. Because we've got the one at the bottom, what we can do then is just rub that off, turn the middle layer off, and you can see the difference there. Like I say, not a scientific test, but it means we can just rub through. And basically what it's going to do there is give us an image which is sharp at both respects, so you can see the difference there, very slight, but you know, it's both sharp. So basically what we can do now is just give a bit more light to the cup in that area, so it's just giving it a bit of thing. We could obviously, you could remove that if need be, but we're not, it's just about the cups. So as you can see there, if we go back a bit, there you go. So yeah, that's basically what you can do. You can literally merge 2 images. So if we were to crop those 2 out, for example, let's go to there, and then we just turn off that one. See, that's soft. That's soft if I remove that layer there. So relatively sharp and sharp. Not a scientific test, but it allows you to basically rub through a layer to reveal the other layer that is actually in focus. The only downside of photography lenses compared to cinema lenses or cine lens is I can't remember what it's called, but you basically get a bit of movement of the image. So if you are going for a very long distance of focal change across the focal plane, you will see the image change size very slightly. So if you focused from say 2 feet and then focused into the distance for right to its infinity, you will see a slight change in the actual size. I think when you bring it right back to its minimal focus point, it will slightly magnify it, very slightly. There's a slight movement you see, and that's just the focal plane changing, I think. I have seen it before. That's why cinema lenses are very slightly different, and you don't get that issue. So that allows filmmakers to, when they're focusing from, say, someone quite close in frame to somewhere 6 or 7 feet away or whatever, they can, or to an object, they can focus without any change in size or view change at all. So that's the difference. So basically that was just a quick image change, just to see what's possible, and then all you do then is flatten it down, and that image is whatever. Then you can start messing around with the colouring, stuff like that. So it's just a case of messing around with it, really. Yeah, so all that is there is a battery powered LED set of Christmas lights or whatever inside a bottle. Simple as. Mobile phone lighting. LEDs are slightly different colour, but that's not what it was about. It's just about showing you how to bring two things that are, these are about 6 or 8 inches apart, two things into the same depth without sacrificing your background. So if you want to keep your background lovely and blurred, it's a good way of doing it, especially if it's people or animals or whatever, or a building, or stuff like that, or objects like a teacup or a coffee cup and a bottle of wine or whatever. So it's just a case of just a quick quick demonstration, really. It can be done a lot better. This is just really quick, so I hope that's helped somebody out there. Like I say, nothing's right or wrong in Photoshop. You have your own techniques that you learn, and it work, whatever works for you, really.